All right, I'm going to give everybody just a second to jump on here, and then I'm going to talk about this real quick. Didn't plan on coming on here tonight, but this headline is definitely one that will grab your attention as far as a biblical perspective, as far as a headline from a biblical perspective. This headline is definitely one for that. So I'm going to give everybody just a second to hop on here. I know it's late. It's 9:20 p.m. Eastern. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, guys, maybe 10 minutes on this, but I want to show you a headline that just came over the wire for us anyway, for End Time Headlines. We posted this a little while ago, about an hour ago. And the headline in this is enough to be chilling in itself, but I want to read this, and I want to show you this. I'm going to switch this camera around. I want to show you the headline here. So this is from Fox News. Again, you can find this on our main website, but again, we posted this or shared this from Fox News. Millions of pigs in Asia culled as African swine fever spreads, described as, quote, largest outbreak we've ever had on the planet. Now I'm going to scroll down. Again, this is from our website. Again, you can see where it's from Fox News. I didn't pull it up from Fox News, but you can find the link. The link is put in here underneath the excerpt of this. The reason why I'm not bringing you straight to the site is because they've got a video insert that automatically wants to play and all that jazz, and I didn't want to have that bleeding into this. But I want to read this. If you can read this, I'm going to read this. If you can see this, I just want to show you this one paragraph, especially right here. I want to read this right here. It says, millions of pigs have reportedly been culled throughout Asia as a swine fever outbreak. Now listen, right here where I've highlighted this, listen to this. This is the chilling part. Described as the biggest animal disease outbreak we've ever had on the planet. Now, guys, it's one thing to say this is the largest they've seen in Asia or in a certain region or whatever, but when they say it's the largest outbreak they've ever had on the planet, how many believes that'll get your attention? So I'm going to switch this back around. I know we're on a cell phone here, so this is kind of bouncing around a little bit. And also, they went on to say that it's spreading through the continent. Not only is it the largest outbreak that they've ever seen on the planet, but this is spreading throughout the continent. African swine fever, or ASF, is a, quote, highly contagious and deadly viral disease affecting both domestic and wild pigs of all ages, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The disease, now, the good news of this, according to what they're telling us here at Fox News, or from at least from the information that they're gathering, is the disease cannot be transmitted from pigs to humans. However, so they're saying that this is not a food safety problem per the officials. Yet there is no known cure or vaccines for the disease, which is found throughout the world, particularly in the sub-Saharan Africa. But in recent months, Asian countries like China, Mongolia, and Vietnam, and areas in the European Union have been affected. In China and other Asian countries, swine fever has decimated pig herds. In fact, I pulled up an article recently. We reported on this. Yes, this was last month. Let me just I'll pull this whole article up here and we'll just read a little excerpt. This was on the May 3rd of 2019. Now I'm gonna flip you back around and show you this headline. This was from the 3rd of May. We reported on this. Pig Ebola virus sends shockwaves through global food chain. Now, again, this was a little bit over a month ago that this thing, so it's not like they didn't know that this thing was escalating. So this thing was escalating even back then. Bloomberg reported what started with a few dozen dead pigs in northeastern China is now sending shockwaves through the global food chain. Last August, a farm with fewer than 400 hogs on the outskirts Xinjiang, I believe that's how you pronounce that, was found to harbor African swine fever. The first ever occurrence of the contagious viral disease in the country, with half of the world's pigs. 47 head had died, triggering emergency measures, including mass culling and blockade to stop the transportation of livestock. Within days, a government notice proclaimed the outbreak, quote, effectively controlled, but it was too late. By then, the disease had literally gone viral, dispersed across hundreds of miles, and sickened animals and contaminated food. And now it's interesting. It says it contaminated food, but yet over here it says that this isn't a food safety problem. Okay, so again, 9 months later, the contagion, and that brings us to this date right here. 9 months later brings us to May 3rd, 2019. So that's when we reported this, that this virus has spread nationwide, has crossed borders to Mongolia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and bolstered the meat markets globally. Okay, now here we go. We fast forward. Again, we're a little over a month fast forward, and now the number has jumped to millions of pigs have been slaughtered as the African swine fever spreads. Again, and they're calling this the largest animal outbreak we've ever had on the planet. I mean, the verbiage on that alone is biblical. And I don't make any apologies for saying that, because when you read the book of Revelation, it talks about these things. It talks about plagues. It talks about pestilences. Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, they talk about pestilences. They talk about food shortages. Now, again, the good news, if there's any good news in this, is that as of now, it cannot be transmitted from pigs to humans. So as of now, this is not a threat. But what is this going to do to the food industry? What is this going to do to the global food chain? Now, I know for me and my house, we don't eat pig. We don't. And I don't do that for religious reasons. I'm just being honest with you. I don't do it for religious purposes. I do it for health purposes. Again, so let me make that straight real quick. It's not because of religious preferences that we don't eat swine, or we don't eat pig, we don't eat pork chops, we don't eat bacon, we don't eat sausage, we don't eat ham, we don't eat any of that. It's not for religious purposes. It's because for health purposes. It's just not healthy, guys. I mean, I don't have time. I don't want to bore you with all the health aspects of pigs and the fact that they don't sweat. And they store toxins in their meat, and you eat this meat and it gets into your bloodstream. I don't want to go into all that, because then I will bore you on that. But I wanted to hop on here, like I said, and give you this headline. Again, end time headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. If you want one, you got one tonight. This is something that definitely we need to be paying attention to. It's going to be interesting to see what and how this affects our, global food chain. Now, you put this on top of what's happening in the midsection of the United States with the crops and farming, with all the flooding and everything that's happened. You put that on top of this, and this could be an absolute perfect storm of things that could get worse and worse down the road. So I wanted to hop on here again, guys. You can find all these headlines at endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. Again, I'm Ricky Scaparell, the founder and the voice of End Time Headlines. If this is your first time, we want to welcome you to the broadcast. This is a breaking news update. All this information can be found right there on our main website. You can go find the links to this, the sources that reported it. and the original content there. We wanted to put that up there so we could keep you ahead of what's going on. So we will we'll share this here on our End Time Headlines Facebook page. We'll upload this to YouTube as well, so we can inform those guys that don't follow us on Facebook or any other platform. They follow us there on YouTube, so we can get this word out as well. So God bless you guys. Stay safe, and we will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. God bless.